Hey guys, what is up? It's Cameron Talks Football, and I'm back with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing the Chargers free agency 2021 needs. And they could be re-signing some players, but most of these are going to be them trying to go after some people in free agency. Some on offense, some on defense, some with the edge, middle linebacker, corner, free safety, wide receivers, tight end, and O linemen because they're mostly going to go after or try to go after a good O lineman or a good wide receiver to build for Justin Herbert just because they are wanting to protect that young rookie that they had last year, and he did play pretty good with a decently beat up O line. So first, I'm going to be going over the wide receivers that they could target. I'm going to be going over three of them. The first one is John Ross. The reason I say John Ross is because they could get him at a cheap price just because he didn't play that much last year. And he's coming off an injury, and they'll be able to sign him for cheap just because he's probably going to be wanting to play for any team that's going to give him a good contract. They could probably give him a, I don't know, I'm not really going to be going over the price, but that bet they could get him at a cheap price just because off of his injuries. And then the second person that they could go after is Juju Smith-Schuster. The reason I'm saying Juju is because he is saying that he would like to probably play with Justin Herbert. It looks like that because you've seen tweets, you've seen pictures of him in a Chargers uni. It looks like they could be a good combo right there. They would have Mike Evans, I don't know why I said Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and then also Juju Smith-Schuster with their new young quarterback in Justin Herbert. This would be a really great addition for them because now they would have some great wide receivers, and then if they also add to their tight end spot and also their O line, I think they'd have a really great, pretty much a really great offense. And I think you could see the Chargers in the playoffs this year if they figure out what to do in the right spots. So next, with we're gonna go over the tight ends. There's only gonna be two possible tight ends. One of them is Hunter Henry. They're gonna try and either re-sign him to a young, like a decently medium-sized deal. He's not like the top market tight end like a George Kittle or a Travis Kelce. He's not like one of those tight ends. He's just a younger tight end. He came off of an injury, so they're probably gonna sign him to like a medium-sized deal. But if they don't re-sign him, then I think they'll go after Jared Cook. He's decent with age. He's in his 30s, so I think they will get him at a young a small price to pay. I don't think they're gonna have to overpay for him, just because he doesn't have that big of an asking price. But how with his production, even though he is a good player, they won't have to worry about paying him too much. And then next is the O line. I think they could go after three people here. Not all three, but these three options that they could go after is Corey Linsley, just because he's a good center. I think they'll either go after a center or a tackle here. The first one will be Corey Linsley. The second one will be David Andrews, and then the third one will be Andrew Villanueva. The reason I say Andrew Villanueva is because if they want to have both sides protected for Justin Herbert and then also add that center, I think they would rather go after David Andrews just because he has been had great production for his whole career when he was in New England. He did play some great seasons there. So I think they'll go after Villanueva and Andrews if they want to go after that O line. And so those were the people that they would go after on offense. Now on defense, the people for the edge, they would go after either J.J. Watt because he's already in free agency. That would help get some double teams off of Joey Bosa, which would be really great for him. And then they would have two dominant pass rushers on the outside, and then they would just have to find their dominant defensive tackle, and then they could be a really great defensive front. Or they could pick Jadeveon Clowney. He was on a 1 year deal with the Titans, and he didn't have that much production, so I feel like they would get a cheap price with him just because if he can find the right team for the right price, then that would be a really great steal because he used to be a really great player when he played for the Texans. But yeah, that I think they would rather. I think the order would be J.J. Watt, Yannick Ngakoue, and then Clowney. The reason I say Yannick Ngakoue is because he is still a young pass rusher. He did have some production when he did play for the Jaguars, and then he did play for the Vikings and the Ravens this season. But I think they would rather go after J.J. Watt and then Unique Ngakoue and then Jadeveon Clowney. The reason I say J.J. Watt first is because he's a three-time Defensive Player of the Year, and that does bring some impact to your team and put some pressure on the offensive line. And then for middle linebacker, I have them either picking up two people from the Buccaneers. They won't be able to get both, but I think they'll either get Levante David or Shaquille Barrett. The reason I think they would rather go after Levante David just because they need a coverage linebacker so that their rookie that they got last year will be able to be a good blitzing linebacker. He was a good one in college, and I think they'll be able to utilize him in that blitzing fashion again if they go after a good coverage linebacker to replace his spot. And if they want to go after like a pass rushing linebacker, I think they'll go after Shaquille Barrett. He did have a great season last year, and the year before that, he had like double-digit sacks. So if they don't want to go after a coverage linebacker, I think they could go after one that could do both coverage and blitz the quarterback, which would be Shaquille Barrett. I think they should go after Levante David, though, just because he is a great coverage linebacker. And then for corners, I think they'll either go after Patrick Peterson. I think they can get a small price for him just because he's getting up there in age. He's a 30-year-old corner, and when it gets to corners, then that starts to get pretty old. But I think they could get Patrick Peterson. I think he would want to be on a team that can go far in the playoffs, and I think the Chargers can be that team if they add the right pieces to each other offensive and defensive side. And I think Patrick Peterson could be that person. And the other person is Ronald Darby. He played really good last year. I believe it was for the Washington football team. He's a young player, so I think you could get like a good asking price for him. But I would rather see the Chargers go after Patrick Peterson because he also does bring that leadership and is a veteran, so he would be able to teach the younger players what to do on that defensive side. But and then next we have the free safety position, and I think they'd only go after possible one person here, and that would be Justin Simmons off the Denver Broncos. He is a good coverage linebacker, and he could also play the run, and that would help complement Derwin James over there on that secondary. So they would really be having a great defense if they add Justin Simmons or any free agent free safety that they can find. But for the defensive side, I think their key targets should be J.J. Watt, Levante David, Patrick Peterson, or Justin Simmons. They won't be able to get all of them, but those are the key ones that they should go for on defense. And the key ones that they should go for on offense are Juju Smith-Schuster, Hunter Henry, and David Andrews. The reason I say those three is because those are all key positions that they will need for that offense. The most key one is that offensive center, just because if you want to have great protection for your young quarterback, you need to build it up front before you put some young skill positions in front of him, because a quarterback can work with what he gets at wide receiver if he has a good O-line. But those were my thoughts for the 2021 Chargers free agency predictions. If you guys do like what I said, make sure you guys drop it in the comment section, like the video, and subscribe. I believe we're at 334 subscribers right now. I would like to get to 340 by the end of this week or maybe the beginning of next week. And if you guys really could help me do that, make sure you share the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.